Hello everybody, we're going to talk about Monday's warm-up questions for the overview of anatomy and physiology. So let's get started. Number 1, so an overview of anatomy and physiology. First, you've taken this class, now you need to know what the heck we're going to talk about. So anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is the first half of our class, physiology is the second half. And we're going to be alternating between it. Sometimes we'll mix the two. So what is anatomy and how is it different than physiology? Well, anatomy, that is the study of the structure. Pay attention to that word right there, structure of the body parts. So what is this muscle? What is this bone? What is that organ? We're going to be doing a lot of labeling. We're going to be looking at the structures and talking about just some vocab words that describe their relationships to one another. So this is the biceps brachii. This is the humerus. This is the mandible. Those are anatomical terms because they're describing the structure. What is that thing? What is its structure? That is anatomy. So the second part of our class, what is physiology and how is it different than anatomy? Physiology is the study of the function. So if anatomy is structure, physiology is function. It even has the nice f sound, the F sound. So physiology, function. Use that to remember them. So anatomy is what is that thing? Physiology is what does that thing do? So you're studying how the body parts function. So we're really paying close attention to how they function to keep us alive. So when we ask, what is this body parts? What is this organ? What is this cell's function? We're really asking, how does it help us maintain homeostasis? How does it help us stay alive? So this is an example of the sodium-potassium pump. You have it in a lot of your cells. You have it in the neurons in your nervous system. You have it in the sarcomeres of your muscles. So your sodium-potassium pump is an example of physiology. How does pumping sodium out of your cell and potassium in your cell, how does that keep you alive? We'll talk about that. Don't worry, you'll get used to hearing sodium-potassium pump. So anatomy is the structure, physiology is function. Finally, number 3, the levels of organization, the levels of structural organization from most specific, how small can we get, to most general. Now there's a ton. If you've been in other courses, you could go as far as biome, you could go to solar system, galaxy, universe. We're not going to go that far. You could go as small as quark. We're not going to go that small. We're going to stick to a little sweet spot, starting with chemical levels. So we're talking about sodium ions and potassium ions. We're talking about oxygen. We're talking about carbon dioxide, chemical compounds that are inside your cells and inside the space between your cells. That is the chemical level. So higher than that is the cellular level. So our bodies are made of cells. So what are those cells doing? What type of structures do those cells have to help them accomplish their function in physiology? And then a bunch of cells all doing the same thing. We call that a tissue. So tissues, we'll get into that later. Tissues are a bunch of cells that are all doing the same thing. A bunch of tissue all doing the same thing is an organ. So your heart is made of heart tissue. Heart tissue is made of heart cells. And so the organ is part of this system of organs all performing the same function, the organ system. So your stomach is an organ in the digestive system. Your esophagus, your small and large intestine, those are also organs in your organ system. And they're made of tissues, and those tissues are made of cells. And those cells operate using chemicals. And then finally, a bunch of organ systems, all the organ systems that we're going to talk about this year form you, an organism. So as big as we're going to go, organism, as small as we're going to go, chemical level. Now we may squeeze higher than organism because especially when we're talking about the immune system, we need to talk about our interaction with other organisms in our population and community. So these are the levels you need to know for the quiz, though. If you want to put it that way, this is what you need to know for the quiz. You need to know that it starts at chemical level, and then it moves up to cells, and then cells move up to tissues, tissues to organ, organ to organ system, organ systems to organism. All right, I think that about covers it. See you later.